In the last decade, great advances have taken place in the area of brain research. Scientists have discovered neuroplasticity, a term which conveys the idea that the physical wiring of the brain changes according to the thoughts moving through it. Neurons wire together most when a person is in a state of sustained attention. What this means is that it is possible to direct your own subjective experience of reality. Literally, if your thoughts are ones of fear, worry, anxiety, and negativity, then you grow the wiring for more of those thoughts to flourish. If you direct your thoughts to be ones of love, compassion, gratitude, and joy, you create the wiring for repeating those experiences.
And that's a map of the nervous system as a network of neurons. So you've heard that neurons are the cells inside the brain that perform all kinds of amazing things, and they're connected by synapses. And an important goal of my field is to map that network of neurons. To imagine it, think about the back pages of airline magazines. There are those maps that show cities and flights between cities. And just imagine that every city were replaced by a neuron and every flight between cities by a connection. That would be something like a connectome, except that you have to imagine 100 billion cities and thousands of flights per city. It would never fit inside a magazine. It's an incredibly complicated map full of lots of information. One of the oldest hypotheses in neuroscience is that your memories are somehow stored inside this map of connections. Everyone's map is different, and your memories are different from mine, so maybe that information is stored inside your connectome. We know that every experience changes the connections inside your brain, and so it's plausible that that's how the trace of the past. Your connectome contains 1 million times more connections than your genome has letters. That's a lot of information. What's in that information? We don't know for sure, but there are theories. Since the 19th century, neuroscientists have speculated that maybe your memories, the information that makes you you, maybe your memories are stored in the connections between your brain's neurons. And perhaps other aspects of your personal identity, maybe your personality and your intellect, maybe they're also encoded in the connections between your neurons. And so now you can see why I proposed this hypothesis: I am my connectome. You grow during childhood and age during adulthood. Your personal identity changes slowly. Likewise, every connectome changes over time. What causes these changes? Well, because there are signals, electrical signals that travel along the branches of neurons and chemical signals that jump across from branch to branch. These signals are called neural activity. And there's a lot of evidence that neural activity is encoding our thoughts, feelings, and perceptions, our mental experiences. And there's a lot of evidence that neural activity can cause your connections to change. The connectome is where nature meets nurture. And it might be true that just the mere act of thinking can change your connectome, an idea that you may find empowering.
Today, we're often too busy tending to our iPhones and iPods to really stop and get to know ourselves. Under the deluge of minute-to-minute text conversations, emails, the relentless strange of media channels and passwords and apps and reminders and tweets and tags, we lose sight of what all this fuss is supposed to be about in the first place: ourselves. Much of the time, we're transfixed by all of the ways we can reflect ourselves out into the world, and we can barely find the time to reflect deeply back in on our own selves. We've cluttered ourselves up with all this. So my question to you is, can we find ways to know ourselves without the escape? Can we redefine our relationship with the technologized world in order to have the heightened sense of self-awareness that we seek? Can we live here and now in our wired web and still follow those ancient instructions? Know thyself. I say the answer is yes. And I'm here today to share a new way that we're working with technology to this end, to get familiar with our inner selves like never before, humanizing technology and furthering that age-old quest of ours to more fully know the self. It's called thought-controlled computing. Humanizing technology is about taking what's already natural about the human tech experience and building technology seamlessly in tandem with it. As it aligns with our human behaviors, it can allow us to make better sense of what we do, and more importantly, why. Creating a big picture out of all of the important little details that make up who we are. With humanized technology, we can monitor the quality of your sleep cycles. Do you know what causes fatigue in you, or what brings out your energetic self? What triggers cause you to be depressed? What controlled computing can allow you to do is build colorful, layered pictures of our lives. And with this, we can get the skinny on our psychological happenings and build a story of our behaviors over time. We can begin to see the underlying narratives that propel us forward and tell us about what's going on. And from this, we can learn how to change the plot, the outcome, and the character of our personal stories.